my friends, let us get started tonight with a little bit of a recap of what transpired last week, courtesy of the San Antonio Drift himself. Ian, take it away, my friend.
All right, friends, let's dish. So, right? Last time we left this illustrious crew, right? They got their boat, right? Up in the air, chilling, vibing, doing boat stuff. We come back on this chapter and everybody's just finding their way, like finding their path on this boat. Who does what? How do you fix this? Is that a bird? Is it gonna hit? Oh my God, it's gonna rain. Everyone's finding their notion, right? On the boat. Conversations were had, feelings were felt. And I think, or at least for me, best friend, everyone seemed to realize something about themselves, a sense of freedom. But all of that had to come to a crashing end when we did find a note from our beloved friend Violet, who is no longer part of the crew. Not for any nefarious means. They're not dead or anything, allegedly. But we do know that they are on their own path right now. The crew reading this note and taking in all of what's going on, feeling more feelings that were felt, we all come to the terms that this is what's best. And they're sorely missed, even to this day. Now, keep it pushing on. We got to figure out, or at least the crew's got to figure out, where's this thing going to go? There was some talk. We looked at a map. We found out that the nearest land or the nearest port, what have you, we don't know if it's a port, was named, Kay, what's it named again?
In like the like the country?
Yep.
Kuvalia.
Kuvalia, right?
Kuvalia.
So here we go. They got a path. They got a heading. Come to find out, we don't know the language. How are we going to communicate? So there was a whole learning montage of trying to learn the basics. 80, of course, wanted to know all of the swear words. Mira's trying to figure out what are the customs, things like that, what to do, what not to do. Brandon's just doing a comprehensive grocery list because if we're getting on land, we need to make sure we supply everything up. Crazy. While this is all coming, we're getting closer to Kuvalia based on what the aeronautical signs are. It begins a storm, heavy, crazy. Looking over on the mast, we can see a shadow. What is that? Is that another one of them birds? That's crazy. Best friend, it was a dragon, a big blue dragon commanding thunder and lightning and shit. It is crazy. Crew's freaking out. What are we gonna do? Even though the gods told the crew there would be no dragon interactions, but I digress. Whole situation. Dragons coming close. The winds are going crazy. We don't know if we're going to die. We just got this boat. It's the first section. I'm freaking out. But with our perceptive peepers, we have gleaned dragons not really trying to hurt us. More so of a scare tactic. But they didn't realize it at the time, which is crazy. We show a sign of respect, trying to communicate. All of a sudden, this big old dragon turns into this pretty lady. I can't remember their names because I'm terrible. Come to find out, she's more of a guardian of Kuvalia. Even though the Kuvalians and their new representation, emperor, they don't like the dragon kind. But still, sense of responsibility in person kind is needed. Conversation was had, some respect was given, and a little bit of protection. Or at least, we won't shoot you down at the sky. So we vibe. Dragon Lady was looking for Violet. We already know what happened to Violet, allegedly. So now here we are on the boat, figuring out how to land this thing. That's my recap, best friend. I will see you next week for the dish.
That was amazing, Ian. Thank you so much for that, my friend. That was absolutely phenomenal. And because you were so awesome at that, I'm not going to make everybody roll. You get to decide who gets to do that next week.
I don't know. I kind of had fun doing it. I might do it again next week.
You want to do okay.
Yeah, I might do it again next week. That was fun. Actually.
You're deciding for yourself? Okay.
Decided for myself. This is the best way to do it.
All right. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Thank you so much for that recap. Kay, you're blurry. Did you rub something on your camera there, Kay?
No, it's the autofocus.
There we go. Awesome. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, as Ian pointed out so well, you all were visited by a dragon, or draconic individual, people call them. And Ian, just so you can have this for your recollection, their name was Zaranthra.
Best friend, their name was Zaranthra. I'm sorry, this is me calling you after we've left the T-sesh.
And in that conversation with Zaranthra, you all had been recommended to head towards a coastal city by the name of Athrak. And it had been indicated that your maps would be able to tell you where that is. I'm assuming after the dragon basically walked themselves off the edge of the ship and disappeared into the skies, that someone went and looked at said maps that you have in search of a heading, and allegedly Violet, that's Varl's new band name, and found and determined what heading you needed to take to head towards Athrak. Based on what you can see, how far distant the lands of Kuvalia are, you're fairly certain that you will be able to arrive in Athrak in just a few hours, in fact. Maybe before suns fall. And I'm curious, is there anything you do or discuss in the aftermath of said dragon's departure, but before you arrive at Kuvalia?
Well, I think one of the first things we need to do after Emma's, we probably need to check in or something, which I can kind of handle. I think I should, for the most part, I think the first thing we should do is find something to help you guys with the translation. I think there might be an item or something we can get. At least that's what Zyrantho was kind of hinting at, I think. What do you think?
I think the first thing we should do is figure out how to land this thing. All of that is important, yes, but that happens after the safe landing.
Now, for what it's worth, you guys have landed the vessel a few times in this journey so far, as you've stopped off on remote islands and such. But this will potentially be the first time that you land the ship with someone watching.
Oh, we're those people. Okay.
And it's always harder to do when someone is watching.
Always harder to do when someone's watching.
Okay. Wait. Okay. Fine. Who's watching? Zaranthra's watching, or is it?
I would anticipate that people will see us descending, and
shit.
I
thought we were
going to draw some attention. Well, we had talked about, going to a place that is not super sparsely populated, because we want to, see some of the people. And so this is not the capital city, but it's fairly well populated. So, I think.
And did we identify that there was no safe body of water that we could actually land it as a boat and dock somewhere?
I think the issue was that there might be holes in, say, the airship, and maybe it's not seaworthy.
Phelan indicated that maybe landing in body of water isn't the best course of action for us.
When did that conversation happen? Where was I? Like, I feel like I should have been privy. Okay, fine. There's holes in the boat now. Good to know.
There were holes in the boat, and we did the best we could to repair them, who knows? I think the bluff that we were told about is probably the better option.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. So we land in the bluff. We find our heading. We find something to communicate, right? And then what else?
I think we should also find clothing and things that will help us fit in here. Zoranthros seem to think that we're going to stand out quite a bit, and Sis can help us, but you haven't been here for quite a while, so I'm guessing styles have changed, and so I think the best we can figure out how to fit in and keep kind of a low profile as much as possible might be the best first course of action.
Totally agree. But to just sort of cycle back a little bit, once we land the airship, are we all leaving it? How do we just let it sit here? Do we have, I don't really know how that all works.
I think if we, maybe just talk to some of the crew, like, I don't feel like Ren would potentially want to go venturing forth into the city. Maybe
city, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe having Ren kind of stay and keep an eye on everyone or everything that's still here. Very capable. Very capable.
Are you thinking we should put like a U-lock around the, so that nobody flies off with it?
Yes.
Is that like a cantrip?
Or we can just take the sails off and bring them with us.
Right.
I'm not doing that. It's a pain to put them back. We did them once because Sisk wanted to dye them burgundy. Now we have like half white, half burgundy sails.
They look a little pink at this point. I think some of the colors
I didn't want to touch on it, but yeah, whatever. Is there something that we could do? Maybe like, does anyone have something to where we can set up tripwire, like a magical tripwire? Somebody gets too close.
I can do alarms, but it only lasts 8 hours, and we probably need to land more than 8 hours away to not be seen,
Really? Oh, that seems extensive.
Hey Kay, would you like to make a artifice check?
Yeah, sure. Is that like my intelligence and proficiency?
Yes it is.
Okay. Cool.
Hey, Ian, Lummox gave you a hail.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm probably gonna need it.
I messed that up. I thought I had the DD dice thing on. Hold on. No, I don't know how it works anymore.
You broke DD dice?
Yeah.
Okay. You just have to tell me what you rolled in. Also, yes, happy belated birthday to our beloved Ysterra Knight.
What does it say?
3.
3 plus 6, so 9. Can 9. I use my advantage?
You can use one of your advantages, yes.
I would like to do that, please. I don't know what's going on with my DD dice. I think it hates me.
That's a better die roll. That's a 19.
19,
followed by
and
a
then
13.
Whoops.
Not sure why you rolled again, but you got a 19. Yeah. And so that's 19 plus 6 for a total of 25. You are fairly certain that you could at least make it so that the engine, even if, for argument's sake, someone was smart enough to come aboard the ship and, would know how to operate the Arcanic engine, you are pretty confident that you can set it up so that it would be extremely hampered for anyone to come in and just fire up the engine and try to steal the ship.
Break it a very specific way that only I know how to fix.
Right.
Perfect.
The only problem with that, though, is you also will not be able to do a fast, fire up of the ship, takeoff sort of situation. It would at least be a little bit delayed, but certainly it would be amply delayed for if anybody else were to even remotely come close.
I'll let you know that. Y'all know that, especially my captain. Is that something we want to do?
Thank you, Sisk, for the information and update. Holes in
Captain.
the ship. So that'll take away if we need to make any fast breakaways, but if the ship is far away enough, nobody get into the city and do anything crazy to where we have to rush. We should be fine. He says begrudgingly.
Looking at no one in particular.
Looking at all of them. I'll be very honest. That's honestly my only worry. Not even like the ship itself, because it's a well-manned crew in the sense of like everyone is capable, right? And we've been through worse in smaller areas. I just don't. I'm nervous. That's basically it. I'm nervous. I don't know who we're gonna meet. Or how they are.
Aren't you excited?
It's like this. Like, this is nervous. This is excited. If I'm to be honest. But you all are smart. I'm very nervous. I'm sorry. I can't move past that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll try my best to help us get through this, and maybe I'll become second nature the more we do it.
Right. Respect is universal, right? So if we just do that, then should be fine. Ooh. Okay. I'm going to start prepping everything to land the boat. Just, you guys do your thing. Very nervous.
At some point, Oriana actually approaches you, Bren, and you also got a shout out from Wanderer's Haven just now, by the way, Ian. As Oriana,
because Dee Dice hates me.
As Oriana approaches Bren, she just kind of walks up to him very nonchalantly, starts like leaning on the railing next to him, not even looking at him.
Hey, everything okay?
Oh yeah, Captain, everything's fine. I just wanted to let you know that things are a little interesting as far as what I can see of the portents. I don't think there's any immediate danger, but there's definitely some concern about someone suffering. But I don't know what that means yet.
Okay, someone suffering, someone here suffering, or
I don't
there?
know yet. That's part of the problem.
Okay.
Just something to be mindful of.
Yeah. Can you remind me the last thing that you had foresight on?
Well, I had some foresight that we would be more crowded aboard the ship than intended.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That decisions were going to have to be made, and they weren't going to be easy choices. But I feel like it's been a good thing. Nora and Taryn have been remarkable additions to the crew.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the insight, Oriana. I will be back. And he kind of like shuffles off. And I think whoever the next person that he runs into after the conversation with Oriana, he's gonna go, hi, whomever that is, like dealer's choice.
You mean of your other 3 players, that is? Or of anyone in the crew? Okay.
It honestly, it could be anyone. It's just the very next person.
We'll say Sisk is below deck. You were probably above deck. So toss up between 80 and Mira.
Hey, Mira. Hi. Hey, question. Does the ship feel like crowded? Like, do you think like maybe there's like more people than like normal? Not saying like in a way that we would kick someone off, just a feeling.
No. It seems fine. I didn't. It's been like this for 6 weeks, so I'm pretty used to it. But I feel like we've
pretty used to it. Like pretty used to like
the number of people on the ship. It feels normal.
It feels normal now. But do you remember a time where it felt like it was too many? Like people were like over each other?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we initially, planned on Dove and Nora and Taryn coming, but it's been good. So, they pull their weight and everything. And where is this coming from? What is happening with you?
I just want to make sure everybody's comfortable. That's it. What I mean,
now like that we're landing.
Yeah. What?
And getting off the ship, you want to make sure everyone's comfortable.
Well, yeah, just in case we need to like be aware that we need to add more. No, I said that in the beginning of this. Now we're gonna kick anybody off.
Very confusing right now. Okay.
Okay, listen. Okay, I didn't want to. I feel like you already did it though, but I didn't want to, because I'm the captain, right? And I'm supposed to be a captain. I was like looking at a lot of things in the captain's quarters, and it seemed like the previous captain really had it together, right? So, I am beyond nervous. We don't know what we're getting into, right? And it's not like home. We've known that for so long. This is a completely new experience. And yes, it's exciting, it's wonderful, but then at the same time, it has a larger sense of danger than the one that we knew back. And then Oriana kind of like talked to me for a little bit, and she said, or they said that they had like a vision of someone suffering, but they can't distinguish if it's someone here or someone there suffering. And then I asked her, what was the last thing that you had insight on? And they said that they expected the ship to be more crowded than before. And then they immediately after said, but Dove and they're doing well, it's a good thing. And then you said that you didn't expect Dove and his family to be here.
Well, when we met up with them. I don't think we expected them to come with, but then they needed to get out. So I don't know. I think it's hard to act on premonitions until we know what we're acting on. So I would take whatever she said with a grain of salt, and until we meet a suffering person, there's nothing we can do about it.
Would it be a premonition? I don't
know. The first person that comes to mind is what's her name? Eliana in the ring. She seemed to be suffering when 80 headed on, but she's sort of dead, kind of, I think. So I don't know. I think we should focus on the problems that we can solve.
Okay, fine. I'll just stop worrying.
You're not gonna, though. You're just gonna bottle it up inside until you create a skylight in your cabin.
I don't know what you're talking about. Everything is fine. We're going to meet these new and different people, being also very new and different in a complete land that we know nothing about and we have no connection to, with a magical flying boat that we have to park 8 miles away and away from any danger. No, it's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. I'm going to continue with my duties. And he turns away and you can see the hair on the back of his neck grow a little bit more into a bear type shag. He's stressed shifting for some reason. This is
I just give him a big hug from behind and squeeze him as hard as I can. I can't even get my arms all the way around, but I squeeze.
You can see him kind of relax a little bit and he's listen, it wasn't a thing at the time because everyone was feeling what they were feeling. But I said it before, but I can't shake it. I really don't think that I have the capacity for another note. Okay? And this is a very large task for us. So, excuse me for being a little bit worried. That's it.
I'm not going to go anywhere. Not without talking to you first.
I know. I appreciate that. And I know. But it's not just you that I have to worry about. But thank you for that. I'm gonna go bundle up some rope or something. I think we're coming up close. We're just still stress shifting on the back of his ear.
Does Mira do anything after that?
I think she just sort of wanders off and is still very confused about what just happened, and maybe heads below to find Sisk to see if she can help break something, not break something. I don't know, figure out what Sisk is doing to prepare.
What is Sisk doing to prepare?
I would guess that, are we in the air right now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, so
you've been flying for days.
So I guess doing a bunch of calculations to make sure that we got enough fuel until we land, which is in a few hours. Trying to determine how many hours that's going to be, and taking a look around to see what is breakable to kind of hamper a getaway situation. I think Tig is around too, working on keeping things going, so I don't have to actively be making the ship go.
Yeah, Tig can do some of the basic stuff, of course. And it's also worth pointing out, this is a good time to have a discussion about said airship, in that when you are flying, as long as you are flying close to the ley lines of the world, which you have maps of, at least some maps too. There's also instrumentation up at the navigation deck that can kind of guide the strength of the ley line. As long as you have that, the ship doesn't need any additional power. It uses the power of the ley lines to fly. And the closer you are to one, actually, the higher performing and the faster the ship goes. If you need to deviate from a ley line, you can supplement that, of course, with magic that you kind of just feed into the arcanic engine. There's some notes that Mira has long since deciphered that kind of talk about how you do that, and that was basically what you guys were doing whenever you were flying across the Imperium, because the ship was lacking that harness, and you were basically using magic to help try to keep the engine stabilized. And so when you are flying, that's not really the biggest concern that you have. The biggest concern that you have as far as actually flying the ship is maintaining the stability of the engine, because it's in essence a very volatile thing, right? It's tremendous amounts of magical power that are used to keep this enormous vessel in the skies. So that's your bigger concern, I think. And also might offer you some insight into what you could potentially break if you need to, quote unquote, cripple a ship for a bit, if you know what I mean.
Do we have a glide feature?
Not really. It's more of a controlled plummet.
Falling with style. Cool.
Yeah, kind of. Because the wings and the sails are nowhere near enough to actually keep the vessel buoyant. They're more of a steering mechanism than anything else. So Mira comes down into the engine room to find Sisk.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, I think. Bren is stressed, I think. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. How's it going in here?
Good. Everything seems to be good so far, although I think Tig messed up that tube in particular. Thanks, Tig. So we need to work on fixing that so we don't accidentally mix up the polarity of the,
Can I, try to mend it?
Yeah, if you want. You want to
Sure.
get on? Can you do it from there? Or do you have to get on a ladder that holds you up?
Should probably get on a ladder or something to be able to look at it and touch it and get close. Climb up and cast a little mending on this broken whatever pipe thing. It looks better, I think.
No, you did. Good job. How are you feeling about the trip? That's good.
I'm excited. I think, it'll be a good chance to kind of practice speaking with more people. Mm-hmm. And I'm nervous about, committing some weird faux pas or something. But yeah, I think it'll be really exciting to meet new people and see what more of the world is like. And yeah.
Why do you think Bren's so scared of that?
I think he's just, worried about us causing trouble or people causing trouble for us. And I know that he's still bothered about Violet leaving. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think he feels all of the pressure falling on his shoulders and is trying to hold it all inside.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can try to help him hold some of the burden. It's not all on him, and we all feel bad about Vi leaving. And this will be an experience, and if it's not a good one, we don't have to come back here. And when I first started out, I made mistakes too. Over time, it's easier to adapt. So this is y'all's first time outside of the Imperium. This is the best time to make mistakes.
Yeah. We probably won't get hunted down by clergy, so yeah, that's
yeah, ideally.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited. I think it'll be good and fun. And I think having some information from Zoranthra was helpful. And I don't think we're in like immediate danger when we land. And I think we got some good advice.
Definitely having a little bit of idea of what's going on. We can't say very many good things about dragons, I think. So,
right, and can't talk in people's heads.
Yes. Is that something y'all do a lot?
I don't. It's not something I can do, but I don't know.
Brent casts a message to Sisk. Hey, how long are we? Until we?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'll give him a quick update. You do use that a lot. Okay. Yeah, well, it's something new. We'll try our best. That's really all I can ask for. I'm excited that you're excited.
Yeah, it should be fun. Do you feel good to be back kind of like in this general area of the world?
Oh yeah, I'm feeling real good. I can't be far enough from the Imperium. And I mean, as the Imperium's great, especially since I met you folks, but I'm glad to be out of there.
Yes.
Excited to be back. I haven't, and like I've been on the ship for so long, it feels like I don't know. I haven't had to transform or anything, so I don't know what it's going to be like to be back on the ground. Maybe I'll be rusty too. We'll all have a first time.
Does it feel crowded to you?
I mean, I think it's a smallish ship, and I know I definitely wasn't expecting Taryn and Nora and Dove to join, but I think it's better for it. And honestly, I feel it's more empty without Violet. So,
yeah.
What do you think it's?
No, it's just something Bren said. I don't know.
Sounds like Bren's got a lot on his mind.
Yeah. All right. Well,
if there's anything else, I can show you what else I might need help with, so we can get this puppy landed.
Happy to tinker around.
All right.
And that leaves you, Beth. After the dragon's departure, and in these few hours that you have before you're likely to reach landfall, what does 80 do?
I think she'd spend some more time up on the deck of the ship, just sort of looking out in all directions to see if something else is going to fly their way and completely rock their worlds. And also to sort of just, keep an eye on the ship. And I think she feels a greater sense of ownership of the vessel after, taking a night shift and making sure nothing bad happened. So I think she's kind of, keeping an eye on everything for a little bit before realizing that she should probably pack a bag before they land. So she'd go down to her room and go through all of her clothes several times, realize it doesn't matter anyways, because anything she wears is going to be weird in this place. And then she just starts packing more practically.
While she's down there, I think she would actually, given her passive perception, which is fairly insane, she would fairly easily be able to hear a bit of an argument taking place in the lower decks between Nora and Dove.
I think 80 understands that eavesdropping, especially on sensitive conversations, is not, exactly appropriate. But she also doesn't give a shit and would definitely listen in.
And it does not take very much effort at all to listen in to the husband and wife having a very serious discussion about when it will be okay to leave the ship. And that Taryn will not be allowed to leave the ship until it's been determined that it's safe. And, Dove needs to talk to Bren about, how they're going to work out when it's going to be safe, and, who's going to stay with the ship at any given point. That those are details that, need to be figured out. And they're not yelling at each other, but there's some stern discussions taking place. And I'm not sure how much she ever actually heard her own parents argue with one another in their past.
I think especially when she was younger, before she sort of, really sank into this emotional awareness, I would imagine she wouldn't have seen much argument between her parents. I think maybe afterwards, being able to sense when things are tense, she wouldn't necessarily have gone looking to listen to arguments, but I think she'd be aware of when they were happening. But in this case, does it sound like either of them is acting more reasonably than the other? Is there like a clear...
Give me an insight check.
Ooh, okay. Do I get to use my advantage?
Yes.
Or...
Yes, because you're reading their emotions, and it's pretty strong emotions, so...
Perfect. I did click it. Twice now. There we go. Natural 20.
Oh, hey. We're not seeing them show up on the stream, but that's okay. It's not your fault.
Know.
Yeah,
so it's a 26 total.
Amazing. So you are very easily able to suss out that both of them are stressed in slightly different ways and just expressing themselves with here comes all those dice rolls.
Cool.
With a little bit of they're kind of talking past each other in some ways, and not doing a very good job of hearing the other out. It really boils down to just the stress of the situation, and both of them having some very, very obvious concern and care for their son.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, you probably also know that they're not having this argument where Taryn can hear them. Taryn is like up on the top deck, like running around doing stuff. They're not discussing this with him in proximity.
Yeah. Remind me, how old is Taryn?
Taryn is like 12.
Okay, cool. I think after that, she would probably go find Mira to dish a little bit, I guess. Let her know.
You would find Mira in the engine room with Sisk.
Great.
Hi.
Hi. So it looks like, our new friends are having a bit of a spat up there. I wasn't listening in. I just overheard several minutes of this argument. And they both have different ideas about what may or may not be safe for Terran. And I'm very curious to see what they end up doing. Just wanted you to know, just keeping you informed with what's going on in the ship. But
thank you.
It was great.
Well, what do you think is best for Terran? And what
I
do you
have
think they're
no
going to
idea.
decide?
I don't know. I mean, they both just want him to be safe, and it's hard to know what is or isn't safe with what we're doing. I personally am in kind of like a, we'll just see what happens mindset, but I also don't have a child, so, I guess they'll figure it out one way or another. So just if they seem stressed when you encounter them, maybe be a little gentle. Yeah. How's it going?
Bren seems really stressed right now. He was like almost turning into a bear out of stress. It seemed like his
seriously
neck hair was he's
that's so great.
Bothered.
Okay. Obviously, I don't want Bren to be stressed. I would like for all of us to feel very good and relaxed about all of this. But he is being peak dad right now, and it really just delights me.
I did fuck with him just a little bit.
You did?
Yeah. I don't know.
Perfect.
It's really easy to do sometimes.
It is. He's really easy to mess with.
Yeah.
It's fun. Not that we mess with him or anything, Sisk, obviously. I'm just kidding. I know you like to do it too.
Yeah.
Bren's on the top deck and he's just like, something is wrong.
Starts sniffing the air furiously.
So it looks like you guys are doing great down here. I feel like we're ready as much as we can be, right? Because we've landed the ship to varying degrees of success. We have no idea what it'll be like landing in this particular place because we never know. I don't know. I mean, do I feel prepared for what's ahead? Not really, but I don't think we can.
Have you felt prepared for anything that's come before?
I think ignorantly so. Yeah, you kind of just, you feel like you know what to expect in your day-to-day life, but obviously things took a turn, or many turns, and yeah, I'm just excited to get off this ship and start fresh a little bit, and just forget about the problems that have, yeah.
You came in here so excited from your gossip and you bummed yourself out.
It's just, I feel like I've been doing that a lot lately. It's just Violet. I really wish that she was here for all this, because I think she'd have so much fun with it. But she left, so I don't know. I can send her a postcard or something. Figure out how that works, I guess. Anyways, I don't really know what to do with myself until we land, so I could either fuck around down here while you guys work, if that's not too distracting, or I can go unpack and repack my bag yet again, or just hang out on deck, I guess.
I mean, I could play a couple of rounds of cards. My brain's pretty tired from working.
That would be so good. Maybe we could rope Brent into it, see if it, like, chills him out a bit. Although he does get really mad when we kick his ass, which is every fucking time.
No.
He's so bad at it. And I know it's a little unfair, given, let's say my experience with playing cards. But, God, we really do love messing with him, don't we?
It's no wonder his eye twitches so often.
All the time. For a while I thought he was like winking a lot, but it's just like, I don't know. It's been getting worse, but whatever. Well, great. You guys do your thing. I'm gonna get ready to play some cards. Sisk, meet me whenever you're ready, and let's kill some time, and then go have some fun, or whatever we're gonna have. Who knows?
And as 80 heads out into the crew deck where the mess where you guys eat and congregate and everything, you actually see Oriana sitting in a chair shuffling cards.
Did you divine this, Oriana? Or were you just thinking about playing cards?
Sorry, what?
I was just talking with Sisk about playing a game or two of cards, and here you are.
Great.
You want to play?
Sure. Now I'm curious how 80 feels about this, because Oriana is the one person that 80 cannot read, and probably has the most difficulty playing cards against out of the entirety of the crew.
I think she would enjoy it, because I think that there is a level of guilt about not being able to turn off her ability to read people. When she was scamming people and making money off of it, she didn't care much, but these are her friends, and it's almost like if you're playing games with a bunch of little kids and you're like, I don't want to flub the game every time because they have to learn how to lose, right? But also it's just not as fun. So I think playing with Oriana would be pretty enjoyable for her.
That's fair. So you sit down and play some cards with Oriana. Eventually, Sisk comes to join. Bren, you take command of the ship up top, as it were, until eventually you start feeling that things are getting a little bit too close, and you're going to be landing soon, based on your own navigational skills and the way the course of the ship is. You're pretty certain that within the next, say, hour, you're going to reach Atrak. And you start to feel some of that nervous energy creeping up. And perhaps it's time to call for all hands to prepare for the final descent.
Cool. He's pops his head down, to the middle deck. He's like, hey, we're about an hour out, so everybody get ready. We need everybody, all hands. All hands on deck. I'm a captain.
Oriana laughs at you, Oriana earnestly laughs at you.
Yeah. Still getting used to it. But no, seriously, let's go.
And everybody gathers up. As you all head up to the top deck, you start to get a sight of the coast of Kuvalia properly. This is when you see the myriad colors more clearly. You can see the spots of civilization off in the distance. You can see the rough coastline and the harshness of the prime sea. And there's a part of each of you that would actually kind of feel a bit of familiarity with the sight before you. This is just another civilization living on the coast of the difficult sea. The sounds of the ocean below have been a constant reminder for you from before, but now seeing it properly impact against the land, that has to spur some amount of memory within each of you. You don't have a lot of time to consider that. When you get to where Bren and Ren and Oriana all think that sometime within the next half hour or so, you should be reaching this destination city that you found on the maps. 80 spots at first. A group of individuals, figures, what she thought originally were just birds flying towards the ship. She now sees coming a little bit more rapidly than perhaps what should be. People holding their arms outstretched and seemingly trails of some kind of magic flowing behind them, flying towards you. I'm assuming that as she spots this, she points it out for everyone to see. And doesn't take much time after that for the rest of you to all spot these 5 figures. Again, each of you is like, no, those are birds. And then you realize, no, they're not. I'm curious if any of you do anything in response, as they're several hundred feet away at this point, even though they are closing somewhat fast.
Coming at us?
Did you put the white flags out? We were supposed to put up the white flags.
They're pink now.
Why are they pink?
I don't know. Sisk. Looks at Sisk.
They're only a little bit pink. It's just like the faintest pink. I think from a distance they would look white enough.
I'm standing across the boat, and I can see that they are pink.
This guy will say that you have come up above deck as well, leaving Tig below to manage the engine for now. Is there anything in particular? Because I think you do have some illusion magic that you could use if you wanted to, but I'm curious if you even would do something like that.
To have white sails? Well, I think they would have definitely seen us by now, right?
They're obviously flying towards you at this point.
Yeah, I don't think hiding after they're heading directly toward us is going to work. I'm going to get into something a little bit more comfortable and be prepared to greet our guests.
Like sweats?
Like not a changeling face.
It's do they look like they're more so interested in who or what we are, or are they attacking?
They're right now, they're just flying directly at you. People flying directly at you.
I'll I'll cast illusory script, and in the sky I'll say, "All right, hail," in whatever Intruscalian.
Hail?
Like hello.
I mean,
hail.
illusory script is not going to be.
Oh no, that's not Skywrite.
That's not Skywrite.
I mixed them up. Whoops, my bad. Never mind.
And we can't message to them because that's disrespectful.
It is.
I mean, when I was mentioning the illusion, I was mainly referring to turning the pink flags white. But
I have minor illusion, so I would either prestidigitate and try and clean it off, and if that doesn't work, I would minor illusion the flags to make them look white.
Okay.
Perfect.
Certainly, the prestidigitation will work. If you have time, but you know that the minor illusion will work right now, at least temporarily. So you can go ahead and do that. Bren, do you have any orders for your crew that are all like preparing and waiting for orders from the captain?
Oh, they're waiting for me. Yeah, everybody be cool. It's just no. I mean, he turns around and he goes, "Okay, just
Why natural?
Oriana, right? Yeah, just everyone act natural. Oriana, can you take Tevin down to the mess? Everyone, just
you
be
just
on
hear
your guard.
Taryn like, huh?
Yeah, it's sorry, but everyone be on your guard, but just relax. You don't want to seem threatening, but be prepared just in case. We will be fine."
I think,
There's
Beth, you're the only one
smile.
that I have not asked if there was anything that you would do.
I think that initially she tried to help Mira with the prestidigitation. How many flags do we have flying? White flags? Is it just one?
Yeah.
Okay. I think then she would stand on the ship at the whatever part is closest to them, and just smile in a friendly way and try to just send good vibes out there, because what the fuck else are they gonna do,
Okay. As the crew responds to orders and tries to fly natural, as it were, the individuals start to get closer. And as they get closer, you can see fairly clearly they divert slightly and start going in a bit of a circular pattern to not be flying directly at you. You see these 5 individuals, and the outfits that they're wearing are very interesting in that they are mostly blue with a bit of white in them. You can see that some of them are actually wearing helmets with masks upon them. There's another that is most likely feminine, with long, really, really long white flowing hair behind them. That's just kind of like flowing in the fairly extreme speeds at which they are flying. And you can see that they have fabric membranes that are going between their arms and their legs, like they're wearing wingsuits. If you're all familiar with what wingsuits are in modern society, they're like wearing a fantasy version of a wingsuit. And you can see them doing this circular pattern around the ship. And as you're watching them, they seem to be flying in kind of a formation. The trails that are coming off of them are very obviously magical to several of you. Mira, in particular, I think would be very fascinated at what she can see. Go ahead and roll an Arcana check for me, Mira.
I am going to use one of my advantages.
Good call. Good call.
TD dice taking forever.
They must just be lagging to hell tonight. Feel free to roll regular dice if you guys like.
Okay, that's better. 23.
Yes, 23 is significantly better than 14. With a 23, I will say that you recall from your myriad studies of Arcana, and a random natural one, myriad studies of Arcana, that you think what you're seeing is magically focused elemental air, like either being pulled from the plane of elemental air or somehow harnessed and formed into some kind of pure power, in this case, that's giving them flight. Damn you, Beth. Jesus Christ. For those of you not paying attention to the chat, Beth seems to think that this is magical flatulence.
It's a hypothesis, okay? I'm waiting to see what happens.
Sure.
Well, beans are the most popular food of choice in Kuvalia, so makes sense to me.
Where the hell are we?
That's canon now. So, as these individuals are flying around the ship, they make several loops around your ship. And you can tell very clearly from the path that they're taking, from the way that they look, that they're just observing you at the moment. And they're about 50 feet off the edge, away from the ship at this point. We're gonna call this a vibe check for everybody. We're gonna
Hell yeah.
we're gonna make it persuasion rolls. Unless you can justifiably think of a different role to make to try to maintain your cool and keep a chill vibe going for these individuals.
I'll do a persuasion.
Can I argue survival?
No.
You didn't let me argue.
No, that's a no.
Damn. All right.
I got a 19.
Pretty good.
23 for me.
Show off.
I also got 23.
And I also got a 19, which is a dirty 20.
So you got a 9. Oh, you got a 19 on the dice. Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. 19 on the die, but +1. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, you guys are maintaining fairly chill vibes at the moment. And as they are continuing to circle, one of them actually breaks off. The one that was leading the group of 5 in the reverse flying V sort of formation that they had been in, she breaks off. The one with the long white flowing hair, and she starts flying directly towards the ship. She's coming at it from the side, away from your arcane cannon that you have on the front of the ship, and she glides in her blue and white suit, glides in slowly until she touches her feet down on the edge of the deck. And you can see that her hair is still blowing behind her fairly violently. It only calms a little bit as she steps down, and as she looks around at each of you, you hear her call out in a language that most of you don't understand. Sisk, you understand it, and the rest of you kind of pick up a little bit based on the teachings of what Sisk had been giving you before. Mira probably gets the gist of what she says as she calls out, and Kay, you can translate, or I'm assuming Sisk will translate for everyone. She calls out who's in command here. And she does it in a very authoritative voice, but not she's not drill sergeanting it, right? She's just trying to present present herself as being an authoritative figure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll say in are they speaking in
Trescan? In Trescan.
I'll mention that we hadn't determined if we were doing fake names, so I'm just going to say our Captain Bren, although he is not currently able to understand and speak the language, so I can be an intermediary.
She kind of looks at you a little bit, like she tilts her head to the side as if she doesn't understand. she understood the words that you said, but it like doesn't. And what do you mean what do you mean the captain does not understand the language?
They don't know Etruscan. They're from really far out. I found them by mistake, but I'm trying to help them get acclimated to Etrusca and Insaras generally.
What did they say?
They asked who was in charge, and I said you were, but you couldn't talk to them. And now they're like, why can't you talk?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
She starts to cast a spell. And I say that to give opportunity for either Deb or Beth to react in some way if you wish to do so.
I'm going to assume that, like Zoranthra, this is going to be a communication spell, so Mira wouldn't do anything.
Okay.
Same.
Go ahead and do an Arcana check for me. Pretty sure you
14.
get this even if you get this unless you roll a natural 1. You can see that she's casting comprehend languages so that she can at least understand you all in the languages that you're speaking, even if she can't speak in the same language. And as she does so, you can actually see that some of the glowing tendrils of magic that are embedded in her suit kind of dull a little bit. They dim, as if the magic wasn't necessarily powered by her per se as much as it was powered by the suit, or vice versa. Her power is what is motivating the suit, and when she casted that magic, it kind of drew a little bit back from that, what she had already been doing. You're not entirely sure how that works yet, but she does cast a comprehend languages spell, and she looks at you, Bren, and then she says, for K to translate, where do you hail from and why is your destination Atrak? And you do recognize the word Atrak in that. And then Sisk kind of translates the rest for you.
She can understand you now, so.
Okay. Oh, awesome. We come from a pretty far away land, and our destination really isn't specifically at Antrak, but we find ourselves coming here. We have no marked destination. We have no intent. We're just more so interested in visiting and experiencing what you all have to offer.
Give me a persuasion check, please.
If I add on that we also would need supplies, could I do a help action?
Sure. I'll give you advantage on the roll for the help action from Sisk.
The DD dice is just vibrating at me violently.
Their servers must be lagging. Oh, there it goes. You got a 19 on the die, so.
Yeah, which gives me another dirty 20, so I'm gonna take it.
Yeah. So with that, she just kind of nods a little bit. And for what it's worth, Genasi are not really native or common at all in the Imperium. There's maybe like 100 or 200 total in all of the Imperium. And so this woman's skin tone and the slight oddity of the composition of her form, her hair almost doesn't even look like hair to you, with the way that it blows in this violent wind that surrounds her. her eyes glowing much like they do, it gives you maybe a little bit of unease as she stares at you. And she just crosses her arms. She just nods. You should be aware that Kuvalia, in these times, we are not as open as perhaps we once were to foreigners.
That's understandable. Your best interest is to protect your people, but I can assure you, we mean no harm.
My name is Thorissa Drivor, captain of the Sky Guard. If you truly wish to land your vessel in Antarak, then we will have to escort you. You will then be required to have your vessel inspected, and you will have to speak to the necessary individuals in the bureaucracy for receiving visitation permits.
Okay. Inspected for what specifically? What is it that you're concerned that we may have?
Anything that might be deemed too dangerous for our peoples.
Which would, an example of what that may be would be helpful.
Does this vessel power itself through the magic of dragonkind?
No, it does not.
Well, that will have to be confirmed.
Okay.
That is an example of the type of thing that you would need to have inspected.
Is there anything else that would be considered a danger to your people? I'm more than happy for the ship to be inspected for any dragonkind or dragonkind magics, but is there anything else? Because in an effort to respect your time in your land, if we unknowingly have something that is disrespectful to you, I would prefer to know now before I go through the daunting task of landing our ship.
I am not certain what you know of Kuvalia's recent history, but the conflicts that arose in our lands were violent. And there are still some peoples in the farthest reaches that cling to the notions of whatever it is that fueled the Civil War for them. If you were harboring weapons or materials to aid such peoples, that would be something in violation of an inspection.
Understood. And then looks to Sisk and very just one of those looks of do we have any weapons on the boat?
Go ahead and give me an insight check, Ren.
My face turns into the cannon.
Well, yeah, that's obvious. It's just us having a between the teeth conversation, just oh yeah, no, that's obvious. But I remember with Dove, do you still got that?
I think we're good.
Okay. Son of a bitch. That's a 7.
Okay. All right, I'll give you this much. you've had pretty extensive conversations with Dove about what Dove did for back in the Imperium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're fairly certain she's probably talking about, are you carrying like cratefuls of, supplies to arm a rebellion?
Yeah, but I remember conversation of that like being a thing. So I was just making sure that we've done that. Like that's done.
You don't actually have anything, as far as I'm aware, on your ship that would qualify for that. So
solid. Look back at Captain Theresa. Fine. We are more than happy to subject ourselves to inspection, as long as those who are inspecting our ship respects our space. That's all we ask.
As it were, unless my marshal declares, it will likely be me that is doing the inspection, and I can assure you that I am very much respectful of others' space.
Oh, it would potentially be you that would do the inspection.
Yes, but I must defer to my marshal, as he will make that decision. We do not...
Okay.
We have not received very many vessels of your kind in our lands. This will be the 4th, I think, to have arrived in Kuvalia.
4th? Oh.
Yes.
And how long ago was the 3rd?
3 months. News does not necessarily travel fast in Kuvalian lands, so perhaps there have been others more recent, but not that I know of.
Same where we're from. News doesn't travel fast, if at all, where we're from either. But please, yeah, we are more than happy for your escort and
where are you from? Sisk translates for you.
We're from a distant farming continent. That's called Bathra.
Make a deception check, please.
I'm gonna use my advantage.
So that you don't roll with disadvantage?
For sure. Flat roll, baby. Ah! Okay, cool. See, this is why we don't use DD dice.
You've rolled well tonight on DD dice. Don't give me that shit.
Nah.
You've rolled multiple 19s tonight on DD dice.
I have. That's an 18 altogether, though. I'm taking that.
Okay. I have not heard of this place. I will be very interested to learn more of it. And more of you. And she just kind of looks around, casting her gaze at all of the crew on the upper deck. Do you have other crew below decks that I should be aware of? I need a total number for my report when the marshal makes his decision.
We do. We also have children on our ship. One child. Oriana's what, over 18? Okay.
You don't know how old Oriana is.
That's why he just went children. Yes, we have other people below deck. We do have a child from some of our crewmen. So again, please.
How many in total do you have?
I don't know. You're asking a lot of questions for somebody who don't. Let's see here. There's Mira, there's 80. There's Sisk, there's me, Ren, Phelan, Dove, that's her, cool. And then so there's like 10 of us. There's 10 of us.
Make an intelligence check.
To count, Miko?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fine. It's in alphabetical order, duh. It's an 8. I'm sorry, that's a 9 because it's a +2. See?
Okay. So yeah, you tell her 10.
Yeah, it was like 10. Am I forgetting somebody? Looks at Sisk. Am I forgetting somebody?
Sisk, I'll say, will very much be able to recall that he did not count Tig.
From when I was last here, do they count constructs?
You know that forged exist in the world, and that there are some in. They're fewer, but there are some in Kuvalia, and so that's the closest thing that he would be. You're fairly certain he would count.
Okay. I'd probably, I'd be like, yeah, several humans, whatever. Also, 11 with one construct, or one. Is he forged?
You could probably count him.
I apologize. 11 we do have a construct that is not dragonborn or dragonborn made. That is also in the ship. But again, when you do your search, you will see it's fine.
Okay, then. For now, follow our lead. Keep your ship steady. Given the size of this vessel and the safe proximity, I think it'd be best that you landed just outside of the city. There is a rise, a plateau with which there will be ample space for you to settle down on.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm gonna wait until they leave the boat.
There's a bit of hesitation. There's a bit of hesitation as she seems to be still kind of sizing everybody up. But after a few moments, she just kind of nods and steps off of the ship. And instead of the falling off of the edge like Zeranthra did, she kind of just lifts up into the air and then extends out her arms, and the membranes kind of appear between her arms and her legs, and the wind gust kind of takes her up, and then she rejoins the formation of people, Skyguard, as you know them to be. And
solid.
As she does, you can see that she converses with them, and they all break apart until they're all kind of surrounding the ship. They have it basically at 5 equidistant points around the ship.
I'm going to casually just turn around from where we were, and I'm going to begin to walking towards the lower deck as if I'm going to be telling, Oriana what just happened. But as I pass Sisk and Mira, I'm going to take the time to do the mind link with them, and I'm still walking, and I'm going, do what you can to cover the engine. We don't know if what that is disrespectful to them, and I don't want to find out. And then I'm going to walk past 80, and out loud, I'm going to go, vibes?
What are my vibes?
Give me an insight check, please.
Wonderful. Just give it 40 minutes for DD Dice to...
We got the time.
Let it happen. DD Dice is a wonderful service that kind of kicks ass. It just seems that,
seems to be a little
it's
laggy
a rough
tonight.
Day. That's all.
You don't have any actual dice within arm's reach? What kind of gamer
course I do,
are you?
But I already hit the button. It's going to pop up on the screen, and you're going to tell me, well, this is what you got.
No,
Don't
our
worry.
great caretaker doesn't allow shiny clicky clacks down here in the dungeon.
Wow.
We've only got stale bread and warm water.
You got a 12
Well,
on the
there they
dice.
Yes, it's an 18 total.
So with an 18, I will say that you got pretty calm, cool, and collected from Captain Theresa. She was very intrigued and fascinated, but you caught no hints of any kind of deception or anything of the sort, and there certainly wasn't any fear or anything like that. That being said, go ahead.
Just what vibe did I get from her when Bren lied about where we're from?
She accepted it.
Okay, just making sure that we're not entirely Bren.
There was a moment of confusion of like, oh yeah, I haven't heard of that place. Like, you could tell that she is a learned individual and probably knows most, if not all, of the countries on the continent with which Kuvalia is part of, but was accepting of the notion that you're on a flying vessel, so perhaps you come from one of the other continents, and could be named anything as far as she's concerned.
With that being said, I add 80 to the group chat.
How many people can you have in your mind link?
I can have.
I thought it was a 1-to-1 thing.
Is it a 1-to-1 thing?
I think it's a 1-to-1 thing. To answer your question from before of why I made you roll though 80 was, you did, however, get a bit of fear from the other Skyguard.
Okay.
Kind of an uncertainty aspect, a bit of kind of a, okay, this is freaky. They're on a flying boat, sort of deal. Like a little awe maybe mixed in as well there. Yeah.
Okay, so you're right. So this is what I do. Because I would assume that Mira and Sisk are heading towards the engine room. I'm going to ask 80 to come with me real quick, as like we're all kind of heading in the same direction. Once we get below deck and there's like not a direct view of us, I'm gonna like go to them and be like, okay, so this is why I lied, obviously. We don't know if anyone knows about the Imperium. More so, we don't know if anyone has feelings about the Imperium.
Or connections.
Or connections. The more we can distance ourselves from that, the safer we'll probably be. So, if you have Bathra, if you see anybody of the crew, like as we're traveling, you let them know. If they have anything that is the insignia or representation of the Imperium, to destroy it if they can.
Okay,
or hide it well.
Wait. Why couldn't we say anything about the Imperium?
Because we don't know if they have negative feelings towards it or if they even know about it.
Okay, but I'm gonna just assume that they're gonna have negative feelings towards us when they inevitably find out that we're full of shit. There's no way
it could just
this up with all of us.
It's fine. Just listen. Team meeting. We'll do that so that everybody's on the same thing. As far as they know, it's a cozy little town in the middle of nowhere.
All right.
It's a lot easier than you're making it. Listen, would you prefer to deal with the opportunity of them going the Imperium? Those people suck, and then they shoot us down.
I have to side with 80 on this one. I really think that, like, especially with their, knowing that like their minds are their fortresses, I think like being honest is going to be really important. So if we get caught lying, I think it's going to be much worse than whatever feelings they have.
We just don't get caught here.
Then just don't say anything.
Guys, they're going to interview all of us and check the ship for all.
How are they going to interview us? We don't speak the language.
They just did. She just was asking us questions. I'm sure that they can all do that, or at least they have people who can do that. And if we just say, hey, we kind of panicked a little bit because where we come from is a little fucked up right now, and we just wanted to, explore the world away from there, I think that would be a better solution than just lying again and again and again.
There are so many of us to be able to try and remember on cue to say.
There's 11 of us. And one of them's a
child.
Brightra, what did you say we're from? Like, I can't even remember it now. So I just
Banthra.
Oh my god.
One of us is gonna fuck up, and it's gonna be bad.
Fine. I'm from Banthra. I'm not from the Imperium. I don't know who you guys are before I met you on the ship. Listen, Jesus, please, just follow me on this. Okay? If for some reason I felt as though telling them where we're actually coming from would be fine, I would have done so. But put it together, you guys.
All right, Bren.
We don't know.
I just want you to know, I'm saying it now, I think this is a bad idea. And I think it's going to go poorly. I'll do whatever you want me to do. You're the boss, but I think this is really ill-advised.
I respect that, and I understand why you feel that way. And if it does go bad, of course, I will take sole responsibility and whatever...
But you're not going to be taking sole consequences.
Whatever consequence happens because of this, I will ensure that I am the only one who has it.
But okay, you're also making Terran vulnerable here. He can't lie about where he's from, and we shouldn't ask him to. He's a kid. And you know they're going to ask him questions. That's so risky.
We don't know that yet. And honestly, we don't want to be honest with these people. They suck generally. Like, I am honestly with Bren on this until we know more.
Wait, why do they suck generally?
The whole dragon thing.
Well,
the whole xenophobia thing.
Sure.
We have to keep ourselves protected as best we can.
We
cannot be so forthcoming
about where we're from.
Just call it Bathra, and you can say it's exactly the same. I don't know.
I don't think being 100% honest with these people is the way to go too. We don't know them. They don't know us. They're already afraid that we're coming in with a ship that apparently 3 months ago someone else came in. We don't know the interaction that they had with them. If they weren't so scared, if they weren't so protecting of their city, they would not have met us like they did. We need to shield ourselves as best we can. And right now, our biggest shield is with our information. I am going to continue the deception for the sake of everyone else here. You are allowed to do what you feel is necessary, and I won't stop you.
That puts you in a bad spot, because if everyone else says, actually, he kind of panicked and said that we were from a different place, then you're vulnerable.
That's fine. At least, and then he looks over at Mira, the consequences will be directed to me.
I don't think that's true.
I don't either.
What would you have me do? Go on the deck and then shout to one of the people, hey, just want to retcon something. I didn't panic. I wasn't going to tell them where we were from originally to begin with. The only thing that they took me by surprise is that they're going to inspect us. So again, you do what you feel is necessary, and I will support that. But I'm going to continue this because we don't know how they feel about other places.
Do you realize the position that this puts us in, though? We either have to go against what your wishes are and potentially put you in a very risky spot, as well as ourselves, or we go along with it and hope beyond anything that we all lie perfectly so that we can maintain this ruse and not get kicked out of this place or worse.
How is that?
That's it.
How is that
ultimatum?
How is that any different than anything we have done to this point?
Weren't you lying in the Imperium all the time?
You guys, from the moment from it's exactly the same. You lied to keep yourself safe. It is the same thing. I'm not lying because this is fun. I'm not even good at it. I'm lying to keep us safe as best we can. From the moment you all stepped on my farm door, you were going against my wishes. And look how far it's gotten. Why stop now?
As you say that, you all see Phelan poke their head in from above deck and look down at the rest of you kind of having this discussion at the bottom of the ladder that leads up. And they say, we're getting awful close to the city. We could use you up here, I think. Whatever discussion you're having. Okay?
Thank you, Phelan. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for the update. Listen, I apologize for how stern I am in this moment. I think you understand why. But at the same time, you don't understand why. Do you truly understand why, or is this one of those moments? And he's being very serious. This isn't condescending, like it's one of those things like,
yeah,
we have this much time. We need to be on some type of page.
You're the boss.
I don't like how that feels, but I don't have time.
I don't like
feel.
how the rest of it feels. It's fine. Let's just land this fucking ship and we'll see what happens. I used to love gambling, so let's just fucking do it.
It's fine. And then he goes up to where Phelan is.
Right. You guys all head up. Katie, you head to the engine room?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am also going to head to the engine room.
Okay. As you guys split up and go 80, you catch out of the corner of your eye Nora, and she pokes her head out from down the hall, and she just shares a look with you, and there's this unspoken question of, are we okay? Before Taryn pokes his head out too, and she just grabs onto him and pulls him back in.
Does she stay out there?
No. She
okay.
went with him. Yeah.
Yeah. I just gave her kind of a I don't know sort of look.
And you head up top deck as well?
Yeah.
Okay. As you all rise up to the top deck, you see the city of Antherak before you. Atherak. You messed me up earlier, Ian. There's no N in it. It's Atherak.
I messed me up too. I get it.
You see Atherak before you. And as you see this city, it is a marvel in many ways. The most significant of which is just the colors that you see. It is a vibrant display of pastel colors across the entire spectrum. Where many of the cities that you are from, there's a great deal of stone and the religious nature of the Imperium as it is. There's a lot of grand cathedrals and the like. Here you see a place that is built on, for everything that you can tell, organized chaos. It is not as neatly arranged as perhaps cities where you're from. There's a vast difference between the buildings at the center of the city and those at the farthest edges in just height. And you think that some aspect of that also has to do with age as well. You can tell fairly clearly that this was a place that was built at its center around something small and then blossomed out from there in different directions. The construction is so unique that it almost feels alien to you in a lot of ways. And you can't help but look upon it and know definitively that you're no longer in the Imperium. Unfortunately, you don't have a ton of time to contemplate this as you are flying or being led to the bluff that overlooks not just the city itself, but also the prime sea with its chaotic ocean waters splashing against the rocks below. And as you make your descent down to this, you can see that it's pretty close to the city, as it were. It's probably only it may even be less than an hour's walk down to it. Up back to the ship from the city might be a bit longer, given that it is slightly uphill. But it's not that far from the city, as it were. And as you are descending, we need to do a group skill check to see how well you can land the ship. Now, each of you,
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, each of you has different roles aboard the ship, and I will be rolling 2 skill checks for the crew, and so then you guys will each need to be rolling your own skill check as well. But you get to decide what that skill check is for each of you. You just have to justify it to me on how it will be used to safely land your ship.
Eddie, how do you feel in keeping the boat steady as we go down?
I can do my best. I think we can manage. Yeah.
Unless you feel that there's something else that you would be better or more comfortable with, like whatever.
No, that sounds good. I'll do what I do.
Thank you.
So
can I do
80,
a sleight of hand check, I guess, to see like if I can...
80's going to take the helm then?
Yeah.
Okay. It will be either...
night practices, right?
Just one night's worth of experience. It's fine.
That's all you need.
There's a lot of cross-training that happens on board
That's
the
true.
ship. Ren
That's
has
true.
certainly sat with 80 more than a few times. So, yeah, so you can go ahead and make a sleight of hand check then.
Ooh-wee. All right, let's see what happens.
While you're doing that, what's Mira doing?
Having seen the ship get a little unstable before, Mira wants to just start casting cantrips continually at the engine to try and keep it stable and fed with magic.
Okay. Go ahead and make an Arcana check then. And what will you be doing, Kay?
I think, could I do a sleight of hand check to be twisting things, hitting buttons, making sure that I'm touching all the things in the right spots?
Well, if you're touching all the things in the right spots, that's going to be a tinkering check, artifice check.
Okay.
Not sleight of hand.
It is.
I can do that.
And what is Bren doing?
I want to do all of I want to be part of all of the manual labor that it takes to keep everything structured and steady. Like I'm pulling rope and I'm adjusting the sail and I'm turning the thing. I'm doing that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be...
Hello?
Yeah. Hi, Alundra. That's going to be either athletics or acrobatics. I'll let you decide. So I'm going to roll the 2 checks for the crew. I got 1 success and 1 failure for the crew. So that means that 2 of you need to succeed, and your DC is 15.
I got a dirty 20.
Oh, that's 1.
21.
Nice. Yeah. What did Ian get? Or what did Bren get?
I didn't roll because I heard those wonderful numbers.
Well, I mean, the more successes you get, the better. So.
Oh, okay. Let's see here.
What did you get, Sissy?
I'm gonna roll it as perception because it's gonna be a +6, and that's what I got.
Okay.
18.
Nice. That's 4 successes.
Oh yeah, I also got an 18.
Nice. So
We're killing it.
Yeah, with 5 successes, the ship glides down smoothly towards the bluff. You can see that there are a few trees and rocks and things. This is not necessarily a space that is designed for a large flying vessel to come down and rest upon, but thankfully there is more than enough space there for you to do so, even if it wasn't designed for such things. And like a very seasoned crew, the ship settles down just above the bluff and slowly starts to lower itself down to where it's just floating like a couple of feet off of the ground before you can feel, 80 in particular, you can feel the feedback in the steering that lets you know that the ship has kind of settled into its spot. You still have to toss anchor, which, the crew does, to keep things stable and not drifting with the breeze and the like. And Sisk, you get the sense in watching the controls and things that the magic of the levitation has kicked in, and you need to start powering down the engine, as it were.
Definitely.
As you all finish this landing maneuver impeccably well, you can see in the distance that there is another figure flying towards the ship. He is not wearing the same type of suit, however, as the others were. He has 2 other individuals flanking him that are wearing wingsuits, wearing masks and helmets and visors over their heads. But this man is not nude, as Ian pointed out in chat. This man is wearing what appears to be a uniform and is guided by some kind of invisible force. We'll say that Mira can probably recognize someone benefiting from a fly spell instead of the whatever magic the others might be using, which she knows probably is fine for this distance because it's a relatively short distance. The fly spell does not last that long, even when using magics to extend its power. But that would indicate to Mira anyway that either they have distinct arcane prowess themselves, or they have access to pretty potent arcane magic to be able to use such magic as that so easily. And as they approach the ship and he breaks off from the other 2, you can see that the captain, Theresa, flies down to meet him as he settles at the edge of the bluff. And you can see him fairly clearly in the distance. He's another air genasi. He has that kind of, now what you're coming to believe to be common, or relatively common blue skin, and white hair that kind of blows in the breeze a bit. And those same glowing, almost like ice colored eyes. And he settles down, and you can see very clearly that he has a very stern expression. He's walking with a stature that implies someone of long military service. And as he settles down upon the bluff, you can see him having a conversation with the captain, and it's efficient. That's the best way that I can describe it. You can't really hear what they're saying, but you can definitely tell that there is a definitive, he speaks, and then she speaks, and then he speaks again, almost like a question and answering sort of situation. And he occasionally will glance up at the ship and then continue his conversation. And eventually their conversation stops. It isn't that long. It's maybe only a minute or 2. And he starts walking towards the ship. As he starts walking towards the ship, I'm curious if anyone does anything in particular. If anyone wants to go out to meet him, do you lower a ladder? Do you disembark from the ship?
We debark. We're just people just going, oh.
Disembark, I meant.
I'm going to, or Bren's going to, and I guess this is, 80, you're going to notice this, like this is very different than the interactions that Bren has had with you as of late, but he comes up to you and he goes, it's a very good job. Let's go.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
Follow on.
And we disembark from the ship to meet them.
Okay. As you start to
squeaky floors.
As you start to disembark, Ren actually will look over at you, Bren, and ask very clearly, "Do you want me to do anything, Captain?" And you can see that she's like twitching down to, reaching for her bow.
Keep a keen eye, but don't seem threatening, but yeah.
Right. I'll try not to be threatening. And you can see the very obvious strain that comes from that notion to her.
Honestly, I'm not mad at it, but I just don't want anything to jump off because we did something.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. When we climb off the ladder, or if we lower down like some type of like bridge plank type thing, like as we're setting it up to meet them, just want to look at 80 and go, I consider you the boat's head engineer because of the time that you spent with Dove. I'm doing a thing. Let me do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, like the time that you spent with Dove and the work that you've put in, if for some reason they need any explanation on like structure or what have you, I do trust your knowledge of it. In addition to that, vibes.
Miko vibes?
Go ahead and give me an insight check. I think the word you were probably looking for, by the way, Ian, was not engineer, but bosun.
Bosun. I don't have a boat, you guys. I'm in a very low tax bracket.
It's fine. Sisk is more the engineer, but what you had implied in your conversation was more a bosun thing. Just point of correction.
No, I feel that.
What'd you get on your insight check, Beth?
That's a great question. I don't know why I'm still rolling with BB dice.
I don't know. I told all you guys to switch to physical dice.
I know. Okay.
Deb got it.
Oh, there we go. 24.
Okay. You can tell very clearly that the marshal, who you will meet in just a moment, the marshal is concerned, and even though he doesn't, the emotions that he's giving off doesn't necessarily, he's not considering you like an enemy or anything like that, but he definitely has a little bit more heightened state of awareness than the captain did.
I remembered something. I shout for Sisk before we actually fully leave the boat because we can't speak to these people.
Yeah.
I thought Sisk and Mira had come above deck and you were bringing everyone along. That's my bad.
Sure, the whole band can come. Let's go.
Mira, I think, would stay behind in the engine room, or she would kind of had gone up to like make sure the landing was smooth and then go back down, sort of under the pretense of like landing protocols and like shutting everything down, because she wants to like spend a little time talking to the engine and being like, okay, you just need to be cool. We don't know how these people are going to feel about you. So like, if you could just like not be fancy for a little bit. And then she wants to basically
give me a persuasion check.
Okay, great. That is a 17.
Okay. You have no idea how the ship is responding to this.
Absolutely. And then she wants to stay down there as long as possible, like up to the point that they're starting this search, because she knows that Genasi are not exactly elementals per se fully, but she would like to cast protection from evil and good on the engine to try and just have some sort of like buffer between the Genasi and the engine.
Gotcha. I dig that. Give me an Arcana check, and 80, I'm going to give this to you. You weren't feeling this before, but as you are disembarking, with Sisk running up from the engine room after having been called, hey, we need an interpreter, and following the two of you down the ladder, as you are climbing down the ladder, you start to feel a bit of nervousness just coming from the area generally, which you have, by this point, I think 80 has become comfortable enough with her intuition to know that she can't feel it from the ship directly in the way that she can feel it from another living sentient creature.
Sure. Yeah.
And that it's kind of like, you know that this nervousness is coming from the ship itself. What'd you get from the Arcana check?
I rolled a natural 20 for a total of 30.
Nice. You can actually, and I think that this is not normal for how your protection from evil, or your protection from good and evil spell normally works. I think you can actually see the magical lattice work materialize in the engine room before it starts to fade. You know that it's still there. It's just that, pulse of magic where you see it come into existence before it becomes invisible to the naked eye.
Cool.
So the rest of you head down. As you descend to the bottom of the ladder, you can see when you turn around that the marshal is now standing, waiting at the bottom, probably, 15 feet, It's almost as if that's the protocol for distance away from you. He is standing at he's standing at military ease, if you know what that means. His feet are slightly apart, his hands are clasped behind his back, his torso is very much upright, his shoulders are drooped ever so slightly but not sagging, and his chin is elevated a bit, ever so slightly. And as he stands there at that at ease state, and you all turn and regard him, you can see very clearly that he is sizing all of you up as well. So I'm curious what kind of vibes you're giving off at this moment.
Calm and confident.
Is Bren really dancing?
No. Could you imagine, though? That'd be hilarious.
All you would need to do is turn into a bear and it would complete the vision.
Right. This is probably like the most stone-faced Bryn has ever been. Like just... Yeah.
And what about Sisk? Oh, also, did Sisk change form?
Yeah, Sisk is looking like a like a human person.
Serval?
Yeah, they're looking like Serval. They're a new kind of identity and persona. They have a kind of shortish, length black hair. They're kind of androgynous, and they are feeling cool and collected. It's not an act unlike I think 80. This is what they were born to do. So
I feel like as Sis catches up with us, or at least up to Bren as Serval, like he does this, he like turns expecting like Sienna, and he's just like and it's just out the corner of his mouth, it's just like, this is new.
yeah. Do you like it?
I like it. Hell yeah, I like it.
Surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, so as the three of you are standing there, I think 80 will notice it perhaps before anyone else. But the marshal speaks, and he speaks in a language that you can understand. But there's just like, you ever seen bad dubbing? It's kind of like that. Not quite, it's not as, funny as bad dubbing is. There's just this like quarter second out of sync with his mouth moving and his voice projecting. But he speaks in a language that you know, even if he doesn't necessarily know the exact language that you're speaking. And 80, I think, can see that on his left ear, as it were, he has a piece of jewelry draped, like a cuff with a chain down to another cuff. And at the center of that chain, there is a slightly glowing gemstone that is enough for 80 to pick up on. There's a bit of magic going on there. And as he speaks, you can hear him say, "My name is Marshal Zen Theros of the city of Atarak, solemn protector of the peoples in the realm of Kuvalia." And you can see him just stop speaking as if waiting.
Looking at Serval. The Serval?
Serval, yeah.
Yeah. Just looks at Serval and goes, "They said..."
You heard him clearly.
Oh, I heard him clearly. Oh, yes. Solid. Okay.
It has that kind of weird offset but you understood him as he spoke.
But, okay. Pleasure to meet you. I'm like there is a pause in between this. He's like, "Pleasure to meet you. I'm Bren. I'm captain of this vessel. This is 80 our Roseman." And then this is our, like, really leading you in here.
Sorry, me?
Yeah. And I think that's exactly what Serval does too.
Yeah, just
because this is for everybody at the table.
Hi, I'm Serval. I'm the kind of engineer. I've been taking care of the engine, as it pretty much.
Looks at 80.
You can see a bit of confusion on his face materialize very easily as he is observing the three of you, and he just kind of shakes his head to the side a little tiny bit before he continues. "In the name of your vessel."
Shit. Above table, did we figure this out?
Yeah, we have it. I always forget what it is, and then Miko tells us again.
Auroras.
Like
The ship was previously known as the Auroras Explorer, and we had discussed that you were dropping the Explorer until you could come up with whatever other name you were going to come up with. And it has stayed Auroras because you all have not told me that you have come up with anything else.
cool. Okay, we'll just go with this. This is the Auroras. Gosh, words.
I know, right? Something's off.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
My brain, you know what my brain did? And I'm not going to go on this. My brain, as I was saying Auroras, Starship Enterprise for some reason. Yeah. It's the Auroras. That's the name of our ship. That's what it is.
And he just kind of turns his head to the captain. The captain kind of glances up and nods, like very forthrightly. And I am told the number of your crew consists of 9 humanoid adults, 1 humanoid child, and 1 construct. Yes?
Yes.
None of
Yes.
your kind are of dragon descent.
No.
I see. Captain also informs me that you acquiesce to the search and investigation of your vessel.
Yes.
Very well. That will commence now. And he just kind of turns to the captain. She nods, and she starts floating up. You can see that she hasn't extended the membranes of her wingsuit, and so her ascent is significantly slow.
Marshall, would it be... I apologize. Captain to Marshall, I appreciate your status. It would be within the best interest of your captain and our crew if our boatsmen accompanied them on their inspection to make it easier and
That
smoother.
is fine. Come with me, Captain. We have much to discuss.
Oh, okay.
And you can see that he kind of just he recognized what you were saying and just didn't really care.
Sure, it's fine. I picked up on that quick. This conversation's about to change. Try to be all flowery. Absolutely. 80, if you would, please.
Sure thing, Captain.
80 starts climbing the ladder. By the time 80 gets up to the top, Captain Tharissa is up there as well. And yeah, the inspection begins. Out of curiosity, is there anything that any of you have tried to hide aboard the vessel of your personal possessions or otherwise at any point during this voyage? Not just specifically as it relates to this inspection that is about to happen, but I'm curious because you all have your own personal spaces aboard the ship, and sometimes, we all have a tendency to secret things away in places that we don't want others to find. I'm curious if any of you have done that.
Actually, yes. It's rather disappointing, actually, because for some time now, 80 has been hoping that Mira would find the tiny celestial figurine that they hide around their apartment, or they did hide around their apartment for the other to find. She hid it somewhere in Mira's room and has not been told whether or not Mira found it. So either she is deceiving 80, which is hard to do, or she still hasn't fucking found it. So that does run through her mind as they are, kind of digging through our shit.
I think that we've got a situation of rollies here at this moment.
Wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Beth and Deb, roll off.
What does the figurine look like? Oh,
Dad mentioned it first. So what? It's a celestial figurine, but what does it look like?
It was handmade by someone who's not very good, so it's a little frightening. It's got its face looks a little bit like it melted at some point in the hot sun's light.
Does it look like a dragon though?
No,
No.
Okay.
it does not.
it looks like a fucked up Precious Moments kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's gotten a little like, wonky. And it's little. It's just, kind of like a little guy. I unfortunately rolled an 8.
Well, I rolled a natural 1, so.
And what does
Mira
this
doesn't
mean,
even know
Miko?
it's on board the ship.
It was supposed to be a surprise, but like, and she didn't even hide it that well. But whatever. Mira's too focused on her
What
other
other
shit.
things on my mind, okay?
Oh my god.
So, is there anything else that any of you have hidden aboard the ship anywhere?
I don't think I've hidden anything. I think I had mentioned that Sisk has collected a bunch of little animal trinkets from across Insaris, and they always, like, every time we set up somewhere, they've had them set up in a very particular way, and they have logged what they have. So if any of these people from Kuvalia take them, Sisk will know which ones, where they were. So you better not touch them. No dragons, though, also.
Right. Yeah.
Mira, I think, would have tucked away her book of arcane magic and tried to, like, kind of keep that out of the way and out of prying eyes.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. We'll call it a stealth check with intelligence.
$16.
Okay. As you all do your thing, as it were, while the investigation and inspection of the ship is taking place, there isn't a lot of... The captain isn't prying, right? Like, particularly as AD watches her and feels the emotions that are coming from the captain, you can tell fairly clearly that she isn't looking for, little tiny things like your celestial trinket, hidden in any particular spot. That's not what she's looking for. She appears to be mostly looking for things that are more overt. You see her pay particularly close attention to some of the maps and such that are in the navigation room. You can see that several times she stops and looks at the handful of pieces of art that are in the captain's quarters that the previous captain had brought on board. And at some point, she asks you a question, but then, almost like you both had forgotten, she realizes you can't understand her. And she just kind of looks at you, and you can tell that she's thinking about something. And she just moves on, as if everything was fine. At another point, she's like down in the engine room, and Mira, I'm assuming, is down in the engine room at this point too. And she looks around, and you can tell very clearly that she's awestruck by what she sees. I mean, it is a marvel, after all. And at some point, she asks another question, and Mira kind of gets the gist that she's just asking kind of what this does, and she points at, some mechanism with an arcane crystal inside of it. And does Mira try to give an answer in whatever semblance of the language she can?
Yeah.
Go ahead and make an intelligence check for me. Just straight intelligence, no proficiency.
Ooh, natural 20.
Okay.
24.
Your work with Sisk has been tremendous, but it's also been backed up quite well by the sheer volume of things that you have read in this language that, these people speak. And so you fairly easily are able to tell her that it is just for focusing magics of ley lines. And she doesn't know what that means. She's not proficient in Arcana, and you very quickly get the sense that while her suit is magical, she is a practitioner not of magic itself, but of using the things that magic creates. And she just kind of nods, and there's a smile that mixes with her wonder, and she moves on. Eventually, she does finish this inspection of the vessel, and throughout all of it, 80, you can tell fairly clearly that she's satisfied. Go ahead and give me an insight check.
Wonderful. With real dice.
Yeah, with real dice.
I'd like to use one of my advantages, please.
Okay, that's what they're here for.
I'd like to use another one of my advantages, please.
Burn them up.
Okay, that is 14.
Wow. Rolling hot, huh?
Mm-hmm. Real hot.
Real hot.
Real
two
hot.
advantages down. Thank you, Varl, for keeping track. Wow, you had a bunch. You apparently had 5?
No, that's not accurate.
Well,
I think I have 3.
Varl says you now have 3 unless he took them from somebody else. Oh, did Varl? Yeah, Varl took them from Mira. Even our viewers get you 2 mixed up.
Listen, get it right, guys.
Happens all the time. You are now down to 1. So with a 14, I will say you're fairly certain that you think that she was looking for something specific. You don't know what that something specific was. Maybe it had something to do with the conversation that you had had while you were still in the air flying towards Kuvalia. But you don't really know at this point what it was. But she is satisfied that she didn't find it, at least. And by the end of the inspection, you can tell that whatever eye that she had been using for her investigation, whatever feelings were bottled up in that, seriousness by which she was taking that task, has changed to more of awe and wonder. And you guys finish your walk through the ship, as it were, and start heading back down to ground. Meanwhile, Ian, as you have been pulled aside by the good marshal, Xantheros, he fairly it's a military casual, if you understand that. Like, he's not trying.
I do.
Yeah, he's not trying to be your buddy right now, but at the same time, he's, not being that, stern commanding officer sort of person. And, you can tell very clearly that he is attempting to treat you with the respect that a captain of a ship, deserves. And he still has his hands clasped behind his back. And he says, "How long have you been sailing in the air on this voyage?"
It's been about 6 weeks, give or take a week.
See, difficult journey sailing something such as this.
It is, especially with only 11 people. I'm sure if we had the space for more, it'd be a lot easier.
Perhaps. My general belief is that there is situation in which too many people can cause more difficulty than less.
Oh yeah, probably at an unexpected dinner, it would be in most cases like attempts to crack a joke. More guests than
He
food.
kind of tilts his
I
head to the
understand.
side as if it's, not, he doesn't understand the joke. But you see him just shake his head and, colloquialism of your peoples then, I assume.
Yes.
I see. I am going to be honest with you, Captain. I am concerned about your arrival and your vessel.
Please,
And
tell me your concerns.
our peoples have gone through much turmoil in recent years, and we are only coming to a semblance of peace with that difficulty. The vessels like this that have arrived have all been unique, and most have been from very different lands from one another. And there are some in our country who believe that this is a path that our peoples should be taking as well. Given the fact that nearly a quarter of our population are ones such as myself that are at home in the skies, even if we are unable to stay there for extended periods of time. So, I would caution you that who you decide to converse with in our lands will be just as much a reflection as the things that you say and do. Be careful of those that might want to abuse your status as foreigners and your resources for having a vessel such as this. Do you catch my meaning? I hope that the language is not broken. And you can tell when he says that word broken that that's not the word he wanted to use. He just didn't know a better word to use.
No, I understand you completely. And I'd like to take a moment to thank you for accommodating us with that. We intend to learn the language while we're here to make it easier. Marshall, if I may, it sounds like, and you can tell me if I'm incorrect in thinking this, it sounds like you have a bit of a rebellion within your city that may find interest.
he very much, you actually break him out of his stern state with that as he laughs. No. My city is one of extreme peace. You will not find any notions of rebellion in Atrak. We are a place where people come to find peace, not one to create conflict. In fact, and he kind of points out across down to the edge of the city, the part of the city that overlooks the water of the Prime Sea is very much steep rock cliff face, right? It's not as significant as the bluff that you're standing on now, but it's still fairly significant, like easily 40, 50 feet above the violent waves of the Prime Sea. And as he points it out, you can see several large arrangements of buildings. You see those. Those are some of the best resorts and places of rest in all of Kuvalia, and I dare say in all of world. This is the place that people come when they wish to feel what it means to be peaceful. This is the place where people come to get away from the chaos of the rest of the world.
This entire continent is a sandals resort. Okay. Well, good. Then it's best that we landed here. So I do have a question, Marshall. So if this is the place where people come to find peace, why, as foreigners, should we be wary of who we speak to if everyone is peaceful?
Because some of the most powerful and wealthiest individuals in all of the world will be here as well.
Oh, so it's not the Kuvalians that we should be concerned with. It's the other potential foreigners who come here to seek peace that we should be
You will
concerned
find a
with.
handful of foreigners, and I will give you the same advice that I gave to them when they arrived. You should always be wary of those wishing to take advantage of you.
Sure.
But Kuvalia has tremendous wealth, tremendous power. And this, and he glances back at the ship again, represents something that we do not have in Kuvalia. This represents something that the rest of the world possesses. So be mindful. You catch my drift, I think.
I do. One final question, if you'll permit me, Marshal. A man such as yourself with such status here in a land that provides so much peace, what do you do to seek peace?
He just looks up. I spend as much time on the winds as I can. For it is the winds that have always been my home. I was not always Air Marshal. I worked up the ranks. And I do not get to travel there as much as I once did. But every chance I get, I take to the sky.
Marshal, have you heard of the Imperium?
I have heard of many Imperiums in the histories of these lands. For which Imperium do you speak?
It's going to look to Sisk in this moment to be like,
Sisk is not there.
Oh, it's just
this
us
is
two.
This is just you and the Marshal.
Help me out, you guys. I've always referred to it as the Imperium. What's
The
like
Valorian
the name?
Imperium.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The Valorian Imperium.
This is not known to me, and I am a follower of history. So, I find this fascinating then. Your language being what it is, I assume that means that you come from a different continent.
Yes, and this is honestly a lot of ours first time outside 2 other continents. So this is all very new, and you've been very gracious. Where we come from, peace is not necessarily something that's so willingly given to its people. It's more so available to those who can pay for it, it feels.
That is disappointing. You see, we as Kuvalians have always strived for peace. And perhaps that is why the burdens and chaos of war have always been so devastating to our people.
So if someone comes to try, and again, Marshall, this is me just understanding the Kuvalian way, right? Peace isn't so easily given, or it isn't so easily obtained. I'm interested to know how you all have been able to maintain this for however long. I mean,
well, the peace that we have found now has been less than a season. And many of us in the understanding of war believe that the only reason that we even attained the peace that we did was because of how harsh the previous winter was. Had it been a easy winter, war would likely still be upon our doorsteps.
And this war, and I apologize for bringing this up, this war was with Dragonkind.
No. Dragons are so few, and most of our people have never even seen a dragon. Dragonkind ended the war. Dragonkind made a decision, and it will cost them dearly.
What decision was that?
Attempting to slay our now emperor.
And what was their reasoning for wanting to, if he provided so much peace?
Peace comes at costs. And some do not understand what costs can be. Sometimes we need strong leaders to help us understand those costs.
I'm learning so much from you right now, Marshall, and I appreciate it. If you could permit me a little bit more, dragons, although I've never seen or experienced one, I do know of them. Storybooks, education, the little that I do have.
Roll a deception
I can't
check
imagine.
for me.
I'm not lying.
You have met dragons.
No.
Yes. You just met one less than 6 hours ago.
What? No, that was like a whole week. What? Okay. Deception. Great. We're going to get some run off of this. Wow. Didn't think it could get worse than it did. That's a 10.
You have some advantages to use. You have 3.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to do advantage. I'm going to roll again to make it flat. All right. A 16.
Okay. He looks at you a little bit skeptically as you are saying this, but he doesn't stop you and he lets you continue on.
What cost could a dragon not afford if peace is the outcome?
That is a question you would have to ask the dragon of golden scales that attempted to slay the emperor. Unfortunately, you will find that they cannot answer with their carcass being all that remains of them.
Oh, they're dead.
Yes.
Wow. And your emperor slayed them?
No, the emperor barely survived the assassination. It was only some of the emperor's greatest and most heroic guards that were able to take down the beasts before he could finish the job. Our emperor has been permanently scarred by the flame of this golden-scaled dragon.
Great stone dragon. Okay. In your opinion, Marshall, what was the cost? What is the cost that you are willing to pay that a dragon couldn't, to where it disfigured your emperor so disrespectfully?
That is an interesting question, Captain. Perhaps one that we could discuss in greater detail another time. I assume you will be staying at our city for some duration before moving on. Vessels such as this, of course, need supplies and the like, yes?
Yeah, if we are so welcome, waiting for your captain and their inspection results.
Yes. Assuming that the inspection goes well, I see no reason to hold up your advancement into petitioning for visitation privileges. I will let the bureaucrats deal with that, however. Good luck with that, by the way. Bureaucracy in any civilization is sure to be equally frustrating.
Frustrating and absolutely painful, which is why my friend Mira handles all of our paperwork.
It is good to have a person that does that. My captain does that
Very
for
smart.
me, and she is exquisite. I will let you take care of that, and if I could make a recommendation. We have many, many things in our great city that you can use to supply yourselves as well as to honor your people's rest that is so surely needed. But before you do any of that, once you have your appropriate papers, I would recommend that you go and seek out the proprietor of the Quirk and Curio.
I apologize, Marshall. Your accent came through. What was that?
Quirk and Curio. It is a shop of interesting magical trinkets. The proprietor has very graciously been providing many of those of our military service that deal with foreigners. These, and he points and gestures to the ear cuff that he wears.
Oh, wonderful.
And
Okay.
I am certain that with appropriate bartering, and as I understand that at least one of your kind can already understand our language, that you would be able to acquire some for yourselves.
Thank you for your recommendation. It's most helpful.
Of course. And if there is anything else that I can do whilst you are in the city, please do not hesitate to contact the Skyguard. You will find that many of us can be quite accommodating.
How do I get in contact with you, Marshall?
Oh, you will see many of our people walking. And all you should need to do is pass a message to one of them, and it will reach me with haste.
Thank you again for your hospitality and patience.
Of course. And one other bit of advice. Being new to these lands, you will find that many of our peoples hold high regard for those that put skill in whatever it is that they do. So if you do send me a letter, I will greatly value not just the words chosen, but the writing and the skill with which that writing is done.
Noted.
I will let the captain sort things from here. Good luck to you, Captain of the Auroras.
Good day, Marshall of the Sky Folks. I forgot. I just go, good day, Marshall. Thank you.
You can see that he reaches down and touches a gemstone on his bracer and starts to float a bit before he takes off in flight, headed back towards the city.
Where's Sisk?
Where is Serval?
Oh.
You think he was watching the captain and Marshall have their
Yeah.
discussion?
Yeah, can I roll something, a vibe check on the Marshal and his conversation?
Were you attempting to eavesdrop?
I'm not attempting to eavesdrop. I'm just looking at body language
Okay, go ahead and give me an insight check.
with
Well, drop it, no
disadvantage.
eaves, sir. I'll never do that, sir. Don't drop it, no eaves.
12 with disadvantage.
They were cordial, even friendly for, moments every now and then. You could tell, and Ian, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can tell Bren was probably a little uncomfortable at a couple of spots.
Very much so.
That seems to go good. All right, we're acing this. This is not a problem. We don't have any dragon shit. We're good.
That's the thoughts going through Serval's head right now.
Yeah, everything's coming up aces.
So, Bren, you turn and you see Serval standing at the bottom of the ladder.
He when Brent turns, it's like this.
Oh no!
No roll necessary on that vibe check.
He just turns to Serval, just like, yeah, and Brent's like.
And as you do that, this is the point at which 80 and the captain kind of give a wordless exchange of goodbye because they can't understand each other, and they both recognize that. But 80 kind of picks up on the vibes of the captain that you think everything's probably fine, and she takes off into the skies.
How'd it go?
I think it was great. We couldn't exactly speak to each other, but I don't think any notes were taken, or I didn't get any bad vibes. So
Good. The Marshal's interesting. Very devout to his rank and his position, but They seem more gentle than what they perceive themselves to others to be. Not apparently. So, and I think we're like walking and talking as we go back to the boat. Apparently, Kuvalia is what I can only imagine a vacation location. Like people come here, people come here to relax and to find peace. It pointed out, and I pointed in the same direction that the marshal did. Like, apparently, this over there, that is like a very luxurious resort for people to enjoy their time, and it's all attributed to the emperor, who provided, or at least spearheaded, this feeling or idea of peace within. And then we're heading like towards the arcane engine while we're saying this too, like for the entire land. But they weren't, he wasn't, or they weren't, I don't know.
He was pretty obviously masculine.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, Kay, go ahead and roll a history check for Sisk.
Okay. Sounds.
He wasn't forthcoming in what the price for the peace was. Like the very open and honest that there was a war, and how the golden scaled dragon sought to assassinate their now emperor, and their emperor now holds a scar from the flames of the golden scaled dragon, in which they killed. But they won't tell. He didn't say anything of what the exchange for the dragons were, the price for peace that they aren't willing to pay. And I'm very curious in what that was.
Weird.
Mira has emerged from the engine room by now, since the inspection was over, and she caught the end of that, and she was like, we essentially got that information from Zoranthra yesterday, about the war and the emperor and the, dragon. Did he say anything that you didn't get from her?
No, that's what's interesting. Like, from Bryn's understanding and from my personal knowledge, that's what's interesting. Normally, when you speak to two sides of a war, there's contrasting views. But from what I remember and what I understand, there's not that much of a contrast. It's just more so of one side wasn't vibing with the other side, and they decided to push against each other. Unless I'm misremembering something, that Zoranthra said something very specific than what I just heard now.
Well, maybe we can find out more about it. If we can get some books or get access to one of the libraries or something, we can look it up. But I feel like the marshal, I hope the marshal just meant that this city Athrak was more of a resort town, because I don't know that all of Kuvalia is resorty. But I think we could use some relaxation after leaving the Valorian Imperium. So if this is what that is, I'm happy to get some relaxation in.
You're muted, Ian.
They also mentioned stopping by this place called the Quirk and Curio. Apparently that's a place to where they sell things, mainly the cuff that the marshal was wearing, allowing him to speak to us and for us to speak back.
Perfect. Okay, that's probably one of the first places we should go. Absolutely.
Yeah. Other than that, I'll be very honest. Well, we have to get visitors. We have to register as visitors and get paperwork for that. But other than that, it's just something doesn't. This all feels like a front to me.
Do you think it feels too easy?
Maybe it's easy because we don't have anything dragonkin. I'm sure if we had the smallest thing of dragonkin, it wouldn't have been as easy. But for a group of people who are so focused on protecting what they have, this kind of felt like just opening the door.
And as you say that, you can see another one of the Sky Guard flying towards you. And they fly past you and then turn around and then, in a slow arc, fly past you again. And they're looking at you, and 80 can kind of get this feeling of not impatience per se, but almost like they're waiting for you to do something as they fly in this almost like figure 8 pattern beside the ship several times.
What do they want us to do? Did they tell us next steps?
Yeah, the next step is that we have to register for visitors passes at Six Flags. So I'm just gonna do. Sis, can you yell out to them and ask, are you waiting for us to get registered?
They might just be expecting trouble because we're foreigners, and they're just keeping an eye out.
He's flying pretty close to the ship.
There's an I'll turn it all.
80 can get a sense of some kind of expectation here.
Okay, I'll turn and I'll wave.
As you wave, they change their course and fly down to the edge of the ship, and they touch down very slowly, lightly, and gently. And they lift up their visor, and you can see another Air Genasi, and he looks fairly young. You've only met a handful of Air Genasi at this point, but he looks fairly young compared to at least the others that you've seen. And he reaches into an inner pocket of his suit, and he pulls out a piece of parchment that is folded over, and he reaches out and he hands it to you, Sisk. And he just nods and he says something. Sisk and probably Mira also basically get thanks, have a good day, sort of, goodbye, as he buttons up his suit and then takes off once again and flies away.
Okay. He's like, who knows that we're here? Okay, I'll open.
This was one of the Sky Guard.
Yeah, so the Sky Guard knows we're here.
Yeah.
And so you open the paper and you read it, and it's in Treskin, and it's basically just it's a very long and formally written letter that you have passed inspection and need to report to the Office of Foreign Affairs.
Amazing. More bureaucracy is ahead, but we have passed our first inspection.
Question, Miko. The parchment that we got, how is it presented? Was it bound with something that was very festive, filigree? Was there a lot of loops in their writing? Is this calligraphy?
No, this is very, very formal.
Got it.
It's like someone actually wrote 100 copies of this, and there are spaces in which you can see certain words have been written in by someone different than wrote it originally, indicating, your vessel name and that you've passed and who to report to and stuff like that.
Okay. 2 more things, friends. So actually 1 more thing. The Marshal expressed interest in the fact that we have an airship.
Okay.
And that we should be careful in who we speak to here, because we have this as an asset, which to me, unfortunately, means that somebody is willing to take this from us. So just be careful, is all. Other than that, I think everybody did an absolutely great job. And you can see Brent just go, They don't know about the Imperium, by the way.
At least your Imperium.
Or at least our Imperium, they don't know about.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, well.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. They didn't ask about whatever I said earlier. So if you want to... Bathra, thank you. See? Even I forgot. If you feel as though it would be some type of benefit, at least those within their ranking guard don't know about our Imperium. So just be mindful, is all. There may be other people not from here that know about it. On that note, I'm going to sit in my chair.
And as Bren goes off to sit in his chair, is there anything else you guys would like to discuss before we end tonight? Then we're going to call it there for the evening. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this second adventure of 2025. Looking forward to getting to continue to tell this story, because I'm actually really enjoying how this is turning out. I love that you guys are equal parts interested and optimistic, and then paranoid. It's so great. So great. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and hope to get to see you all again very soon.